So the big question is this. How are real estate agents like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital, and are spending money from our own pockets, how do we compete with these billion-dollar real estate tech companies and iBuyers in a way that lets us bring our services and the things we believe in out into the world and still remain profitable? That's the big question. And on this podcast, we'll give you the answers. Welcome to the iBuyer Experiment. Hey, what up?
Hello, hello.
What's cracking? Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yep, it is March 17th, 2021. Figured try to be a little
Yeah, I didn't know
festive.
what you were doing with that. I was like, what is that? You
Love
said
it.
St. Patty's Day. So
You know what? I'm just trying
I
to
got
be
my
fun,
green.
Jason.
I got my green
The
straw.
luck of the Irish.
Okay, hey, real quick before we dive into today's topics, because I know we've got some great meaty stuff to digest, I just want to let you know that we have a very special guest that will be joining us next week for the iBuyer Experiment podcast. It is the author of the bestseller, The Conversion Code, and the co-founder and creator of Curator, Chris Smith.
So cool.
Oh, I'm really excited, you guys.
Heck yeah,
I have
stoked.
seen him. I've seen him at Inman. I saw him at Gary
he's a speaker.
Vaynerchuk's Agent 2021. He's amazing, and he's going to drop it like it's hot. So that's just
He's
a little
fire.
plug for Chris next week.
Loving Chris. Good job, Chris.
Well, carries quite a resume, too, so it's awesome to have him.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. Cool.
Yeah,
What we got?
so we got actually several interesting topics today. However, this one, whether it results in anything, I don't know, but it just every week, I'm sure we sound like a broken record. There's always something potentially going to happen in our industry that can cause disruption. Now, this isn't as a result of big tech companies. It is our good old federal government. So here's an Inman article that just came out 16 hours ago. Is independent contractor status for real estate agents coming to an end? That's a kind of a bold topic. So on March 9th, 2021, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 842, the PRO Act. Now, because the House of Representatives passed it, it goes to Senate. And if the Senate passes that, and it's, being strongly urged, by the current administration, then that would eliminate the independent contractor, and all real estate agents would become employees.
Didn't they do that in California with Uber? They said that everyone has to be employees now, and then Uber kind of like cut back all of their services, and then people got mad because they didn't have their Ubers anymore. And then
I thought that they found it unconstitutional. The California Supreme
Yeah.
Court or something found it
Yeah,
unconstitutional.
they revoked it.
because the judge wanted to take an Uber and he didn't have an Uber anymore.
I doubt
You
the
gotta take a
federal
stupid
judge
taxi.
is taking an Uber, but
Well, and they'll change anything to appease the landscape, right? Like if there's enough people complaining, they'll change it.
What's that going to do to like the 100% models, agency models? That their agents pay $25 a month.
Goodbye.
I mean, they're going to be bye-bye.
Yeah, they're no longer existent.
They're going to have to all of a sudden, all right, now you're at a 60-40 because I have to offer you health insurance. I got to offer you minimum wage. And,
Right.
I have thousands of agents and half of them don't do anything. So,
Well, state banking, right? Like, so for mortgage lenders in our industry, they already have to. They're a W-2 model versus a 1099 model, right? They have to declare their payment structure on that on a consistent basis, and that's why you will see lenders that if they don't constantly hit their quota of what they're going to originate, they'll get let go. But that's why some of them they can get their signing bonuses, right? It's just a different total model. So I don't know if we'll see anything like that.
What's the percentage of loan officers to real estate agents?
Oh,
A fraction?
totally.
So I
that's
guess
why.
the PRO Act, it seeks to expand the various labor protections for employees. And so essentially, they're saying that it will weaken their right to work laws, which exist in 27 states, including Arizona.
ADC.
Right. So this could be huge. How many realtors are independent contractors? Anyone know?
Well, I mean, per NAR, it's 1.4 million?
And how many of those are independent contractors?
Well, per this article, 87%.
Wow. So the vast majority of realtors are independent contractors. Guess who's loving this? Guess who would love for this to pass?
Redfin, Homey,
Godzilla,
Zillow,
Open Door,
OfferPad, Open Door, all the ones that are paying their agents.
and heavy recruiting,
W2.
right? At the time being, I don't know about you guys, I'm getting my social media feed's blowing up daily right now of, come work for me.
But that would kill NAR, wouldn't it?
Oh,
I mean, we would have to fire like half of our agents.
I would think that the 1.4 would drop to what, at least half. I mean, with a W-2 model.
Okay, so wait, let's think about this for a second, though. Why couldn't then we shift and operate kind of like a restaurant waiter or waitress works, where they get like a very low, because they make an hourly. It's really low. It's like $2 an hour.
Yeah, it's below minimum wage, right? Where it has to be like offset with the commissions or something like that.
Right.
Or not commissions, but tips.
Per this, what's being proposed, so here's what the future could look like. And I'm sure there's always loopholes and way around, just like you're saying right now, but this is what the proposal would be. If real estate agents must shift to becoming employees, they will be entitled to minimum wage, expense reimbursements, employee benefits, rest breaks, vacations, and other benefits afforded to employees under the federal state law.
Yeah, but on the flip side, we can tell them that they need to be in the office working.
Yeah, right. Well, here's the other thing I think would happen is you just see more single agent independent brokerages.
Right. Yep. Well, and really, when you put the standard of care in place on that, right? Like, well, let me use standard practice versus a standard of care, right? Like, it would really elevate the standard of practice, like Jason was just saying, where not only would you have them in the office, they're now your employee. You must make this many sales calls. You must make this many follow-up calls. You must take this training course. You must do these things, right? So, it really, in actuality, it could elevate the standard of care. So,
it could also be terrible for the consumer who wants options, because if you're now dealing with a world where the big conglomerates win and the little guy can't compete,
you need your answers your questions at 8 p.m. and you're trying to call an employee that makes $15 an hour. They're not going to answer their phone at night.
Well, and think about what that would do to some of the cost models, right?
So here's to go off of a comment that you just made about maybe the agents being cut in half. Well, it's a part of the article. So it says to become a full-time employee, agents who are not brokers and who are not incorporated will have to produce enough income to pay them the minimum wage in their state plus benefits and a profit for a broker. So here's an example. At $15 an hour, that would be $30,000 a year, plus vacation, sick time, and the 6.2% employees must pay in Social Security benefits. Governing all these costs would easily be in the $45,000 to $50,000 range. So that's zero profit for the broker. So according to NAR in 2019, the median income for realtors was $49,700. So consequently, at least half of the current realtor population wouldn't make the cut for full-time employment.
Goodbye EXP.
So that means that it's kind of like Elliot said.
Well, short their stock if it gets paid.
It would be kind of the same concept where that agent would have to produce enough real estate transactions, and obviously if commissions are still being paid, and make at least $50,000 a year for a break even for a broker. What a broker would have to pay an agent just to operate underneath them.
I mean, this is going to cause all sorts of problems. If
this is not happening.
I know, but the fact that it's close.
According to this, it passed.
It passed by the House.
Yeah, right.
And now it goes to the Senate.
It passed by the House.
So
25 to
who knows if it'll happen? But it seems pretty close. So per to this, the odds the bill will pass the Senate are about 60 to 40. The PRO Act will pass if the Democrats can persuade 10 Republican senators to override any filibuster of the bill. That's not very many.
NAR has to be screaming right now. Right?
Dude, the lobbyists are like, hey.
It's not happening. That's my gut.
Where's our lobbying dollars going right now?
Not to this, obviously.
Clearly not.
So yeah, it just says real estate dodged the loss of IC status once again. So far, the industry has dodged, losing the IC status. If the PRO Act does pass, the months leading up to January 1st, 2023, which is when it'll be effective, will be highly disruptive.
2023?
Yep.
You said if it
better
passes?
make that money and get out.
Wow.
But, to end this on a positive note, I love this because, the United States of America is an entrepreneurial mindset for a lot of people, and that's how they end it. So, nevertheless, as you know, one of the people that were a part of the article, who is in high tech, once observed, America is the great workaround society. We figured out how to work around COVID-19. The industry's entrepreneurial spirit and determination will figure out how to make things work, no matter what the politicians ultimately decide to do. Bam!
Well, it's capitalism, right? Like that's one of the biggest.
And I like that.
So, I mean, I guess we could. I mean, how could we work around this? Okay, so like, if you get a commission, now all of a sudden, I mean, can they go out and work? They can't go out and work for free. Then, do we have to pay an agent like full time, or we could do a part time, right?
You could have part-time
like,
employees.
hey, you work 1 hour. You work 1 hour a month. You know, like you're in the office 1 hour a month. What you do on your own time is what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. How you could work around that by you're working for free on your own time.
Again, that would reward disproportionately. Then it would reward the big guy, and it would reward the single or two or threes. Because if you have a certain amount of employees, then you're governed by a completely new set of rules, right? To where then you have to offer benefits, you have to offer all of these things. Whereas if you're small scale and you only have a few employees, then you don't really have to abide by all of those rules. So it's going to cut out in the middle, which is essentially just going to disproportionately reward the top.
Well, another thing that if something like this does happen, think about the additional pressure on brokerages.
It's it would kill the onesie-twosie agents.
Well, it would also think about that from a team model.
You would literally have to close.
What would this do to a team model?
What, 4 or 5 deals a year to even get to that $45,000? Wait, what would that be?
Well, yeah, 4 to 5 right
average
now.
commission is 9.
No, I mean, yeah, it's. I would say 5 to 9.
Probably more.
5 to 9, depending on purchase price.
Yeah, because
it's more like 1 to 1.5 for
so
me.
those
You
people
get that $2 million deal. All right, I'm good.
Those agents from doing 1 to 5 deals a year are going to basically be gone.
But
There's no way that they can hire someone.
There's not, but okay, so Elliot was just saying something when you talked about that. What were you just saying? And maybe I lost my train of thought, but
the pressure that it's going to put, that's going to destroy the team model, right?
The teams, yes, because what's going to happen to teams? Brokers aren't going to want teams anymore. They're going to be like, screw that, go. You can't be a broker within a brokerage anymore. Have fun, go open your own brokerage, see what that's like.
Yep.
Well, and think about it. One of the biggest things, like a lot of your top producing teams, right, is, I mean, they'll talk about their systems and their processes, but most of the agents underneath them want that steady stream of leads, right? But that responsibility is going to fall on the broker, right? Now you're going to have systems, process, and the broker is going to have to be spending a lot of money on leads. And now brokers are going to be watching these agents like hawks, making sure that they convert these leads, right? So again, like I said, I mean, I hate to say it, me being the business entrepreneur that I am, I see some good in it because of the opportunity that could come from it.
Yeah, you go out and crush it now. You're not competing against those onesie-twosies agents. You're competing against the people that are doing 10% of the or 90% of the deals.
Are we really competing against the onesies, twosies? Those, come on.
Never
they
won.
Take away though. I mean, they take away like how much
like
how much
60 to like 65% market share of the onesie twosies.
No,
yes, they do. Yes,
disproportionately, the top 90% of realtors sell like 90% of the real estate.
But when you look at
the
for
top
example,
10%. Sorry,
I know when I was going, and I am just going off the cuff here from memory. When I went,
does that mean you're pulling this from your butt?
when I went through the list of agents, within the last year, of roughly 35,000 agents, right?
You scroll up all the zeros.
Like, exactly. We were chopping off
as much as
like
zeros.
You're on the wheel of fortune.
Yeah, and then there's even a ton of halves, right? Like people that are involved in that they're giving them half of a transaction. There's a whole bunch of them, but then literally by the time you get rid of the halves to the one, I want to say again, it was a huge number. Maybe 65% is too much, but it was literally tens of thousands of transactions. Agents
that are doing 1 to 2 deals.
Okay,
that's what I'm talking about.
You know what we need to do? We need to look at the data, and next week, guys, on the iBuyer experiment, let's report back, because that would be good. You got us heated with this article, Keith.
It's like I said, I'm with you. Is it likely to pass? We'll see, but the fact that it's fairly close is definitely something just to keep an eye on.
All right, let's take a poll. Quick poll. Elliot, is it going to pass?
No.
Jason, is it going to pass?
No way in hell.
Keith, is it going to pass?
Not this time around. Maybe in the future.
Kayla, is it going to pass? No, it's not. It's not happening.
But hey,
Kayla, what do you think? I think it's good.
We've all been, we
Welcome to my mind.
You never know. We'll leave it there.
Well, but I mean, I
All
also thought a lot of things that we're staring down the barrel of right now would never pass. So we'll leave that one alone.
So to feed off of that, here's a company that would love for something like this to pass, or they wouldn't be affected by it. Zillow. Newest article out about them. Zillow to hire more than 2,000 remote agents, remote employees by the end of 2021, increasing its employee roles by 40%. So
Wow, so that means they only have about 25,000, they have like 2,500 employees. That's it.
I guess so.
I don't know what the current one is. I'm sure it's somewhere in the article. But what I'm getting at is they, after all their announcements, that's a lot of employees. So it's just more proof they're coming like a freight train. They're coming hard. They're coming fast. They're not slowing down.
Of those 2,000, I think probably 1990 of them are going to be residential real estate agents.
Absolutely. Going to have to be hands-on as far as that goes. Because, I mean, remember, there's a lot of, not to scale it back too far, but I think one of the huge layoffs that Opendoor did, yes, they were obviously having a little bit of, employee casualty from the pandemic at the time, but it was because of their valuation software. They've really developed it, and they have a lot of human manpower in valuing the properties. That's all now done automated through their simple bot system.
That's your theory. I personally don't believe that.
Zillow has 5,000 employees.
So
5,000.
right now,
they're gonna bump up another 2,000, another 40%
and
of the 5,000.
That's and most of it's gonna. So it says most of the company's new roles will be in tech, mortgage and loans, and product and software development. So that's probably their instinct there. It's probably their Zestimate being the live cash offer. They're hiring all these people so they can get that stuff dialed in.
Man, how fun would it be to amass a workforce and be able to change an industry like that? Truly, it would be so fun. Yes, I mean, we're like the gnat eating a little bite of the feast
of the whale, or the gnat on the whale.
We're riding on the rhino's butt. A mosquito.
For now. But seriously, though, it would be really fun, really exciting stuff if you're Zillow.
Rich Barton.
He's a genius. Look at him that.
So that's pretty cool. So I don't know what this is all about. Well, maybe we'll have to look into this and talk about it next week and see if it's even worth talking about. On Tuesday, it's just a couple days ago, Discount Real Estate Brokerage, REX, filed an antitrust lawsuit against Zillow. Did you guys hear about that?
We did,
I didn't hear that. And Trulia and the National Association of Realtors arguing Zillow's shift to IDX feed is driving consumers away from REX. So REX is going,
poor REX.
Yeah.
Oh, poor baby.
Anyway, so
REX is actually really loves to file lawsuits. This isn't the first one that they filed. But the thing is, though, is if they win this suit, it's actually terrible for realtors. It would really, again, I don't think it's happening. But what's interesting is at some point what they're trying to do is they're trying to break the model, and people are trying to find a way to break the model. And this is Rex's way of trying to break the model. For those of you that don't know what Rex is essentially a brokerage that does not participate in the MLS. And they will help, they have their own internal MLS, and of course they'll help buyers and sellers. They also give massive discounts to buyers for buying a home with them. But essentially, I think that someone's just trying to find a way to break the model through Congress or through courts. In this situation, the PRO Act, that's breaking the model through Congress.
Yeah.
This would be through courts. So there's either going to be some sort of like legislative action or court action or Congress action. But here's the reality, though. Why can't there just be like disruption, like true disruption. That's what's truly going to make our model better, is when someone comes up with something that actually serves the consumer better.
It's better, right, exactly. Yeah. It's just better. What's wrong with good old capitalistic innovation? Let the consumer choose.
Yeah, well,
I mean, sure, but the problem, though, is the consumer's not the one coming up with the disruption, so the consumer will only be able to choose what disruptor brings the biggest disruption, and that could be for good, better, or worse. Who knows?
Well, I mean, the funny thing is you know, you keep continuing to insert all of these large corporate companies. It actually minimizes the options. It allows people to only have a couple and corner the market, and it does create a monopoly, you know, as far as that goes. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've always been one for innovation, disruption, survival of the fittest. And I don't know. Sometimes using the long arm of the law, like what happened with us, right? You know, we got leaned on by big corporate dollars, and obviously we had to shift. But I mean, those types of things, when you use law for the wrong reasons, there's some garbage out there still.
Interesting.
So here's another cool topic, and it always, I mean, hey, we created Zoodealio for a reason, right? We saw where the path was headed, but it just gives it more validity that we are headed down the right path. So Brad Inman and Truly as co-founder Pete Flint just recently talked to each other. I think this article came out a day or two ago, and it says, "We're never going back, Flint, on our digital future." And essentially what the article is about is discuss the challenges and the opportunities of the digitization of real estate.
Digitization.
Yeah.
Digitization.
That is a tough one.
Digitization.
I said it in my head just fine. Clearly my tongue couldn't.
Yeah. What does that mean, though? That means that means consumers want to do things on their phones, right? On their computers, on a digital. They don't want to go to the title company and sign papers. But I mean, is that ever going to stop? I mean, it's you have to.
There's a title company I heard that just is making huge strides that they're going to do digital title stuff now.
Digital signings?
Mm-hmm.
Jet?
No.
I mean, how are they going to?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
A lot of the lenders require a wet signature.
The stamp. What's the stamp?
That's that's going to go away before
certified.
A notary.
A notary.
That needs to be done,
notarized.
right? But there's mobile notaries. I think that the challenge is
that's
like,
still in person. That's not
the
digital.
settlement statement is a complex document. Here's the reality. I work with a lot of realtors over the years that don't even really know how to read one.
Yep.
And so your seller, your buyer is definitely straining their mental muscle to understand it. And until it gets really simple, I just don't see them signing documents on their phone without guidance, right? Mm-hmm. But could that guidance take place, through a guided interface? Absolutely, right? It could, because we can do complex things online with proper guides. And
it was ran almost like a survey, or just like a slide thing that where there's a series
explains
of disclosures.
It, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it could actually end up being better, maybe, potentially, where if they get stuck, they could just push a button and be connected to a live representative that would explain it to them.
Yep.
There you go.
And then but that's just one part of the process. There's so many parts. I think what makes buying a home unique is you're actually at some point you're going to want a physical. For the most part, I know we buy things sight unseen, we buy homes sight unseen, but for the vast majority, we are still going and looking at the home before we're buying it.
Yeah, I'm smelling it.
Well, and even most listing agents, even if you're coming in with a higher offer, your client hasn't seen the home, and as a listing agent, it's very hard to advise your seller to take that offer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We dealt with it in one of our trade-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Dude didn't see the house, flew in, boom! Actually, not for me, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But yes, it's definitely changed. I think the digitization of everything going for real estate is they want maybe the initial part of the transaction and their options online. They don't want to go through the archaic rigmarole of I got to talk to all these people just to get to the initial decision-making process. Yep. So I think that's what where the big effect is going to be, meaning submitting your home online, getting multiple options, and then having that direct to consumer,
just simplifying the process too, right? Because I mean, let's face it, all of us, for years, right? Like I don't know, but I mean, I know we have seen the HUD-1 settlement statement, CERN settlement statement, right? I think it's been through 3 revisions in my 15 years of being.
It's not called HUD-1 anymore.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's been
It hasn't been
for like 5 years.
For a while.
5+ years.
But that's my point.
I know,
is
we're
it's
just
been
teasing you.
through those. That's what it used to be called. That was my whole point of using that. Is it's been through those revisions, and I believe it's on its like 3rd rendition that time. How many times? Like I remember when I got into the business, the listing agreement was 3 pages. It's now like 11. Right, it's just all of these things, and it's because of lawsuits and all these disclosures, right? But yet we were overcomplicating things due to these lawsuits, right? So it's like, how do we err on the side of disclosure, yet keep it simplified, like the consumer wants?
All right, I think we're wrapping up today. Next week we have Chris Smith, so definitely tune in.
A big one to tune into.
And that's pretty much it. We have all today.
Thanks for tuning in.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch new podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.